Good morning and Happy New Year. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Berks County. I am the Reverend John Cullinan, your minister here. I use he, him pronouns. As Unitarian Universalists, we come together not with a list of required beliefs, but with a set of shared values centered on an unconditional, unshakable love. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are at this moment in the sanctuary or watching us online, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome to be a part of this community. As we're gathering, I want to extend a special welcome to anyone visiting with us this morning and invite you to join us all after the service for coffee and conversation over here in the Gerber Room. Those joining online, please take a moment to tell us your name in the chat box and let us know where you're joining us from this morning. You'll find a link to our website and today's order of service in the chat box as well. And now let us take a moment to center ourselves. Take a deep breath in. Feel ourselves grounded where we are and out as we prepare to worship.
Be like a bird who halting in her flight on a limb too slight, feels it give way beneath her, yet sings, knowing she has wings, yet sings, knowing she has wings. Be like a bird who halting in her flight on a limb too slight, feels it give way beneath her, yet sings, knowing she has wings, yet sings, knowing she has wings.
Our chalice reading this morning is by Sylvia Howe. This is the time for you to light your chalice at home if you have one, while our chalice is lit here in the sanctuary. We bid you welcome on this first Sunday of the new year. Like Janus, we gather with part of us looking backward and part of us looking forward. We gather on the edge of the new year, saddened by our losses, cherishing our joys, aware of our failures, mindful of days gone by. We gather on the cusp of this new year, eager to begin anew, hopeful for what lies ahead, promising to make changes, anticipating tomorrows and tomorrows. We invite you to join our celebration of life, knowing that life includes good and bad, endings and beginnings. We bid you welcome. Would you please rise in body or spirit now and join in our opening hymn, number 350, The Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time.
The ceaseless flow of endless time, no one can check or stay. We'll view the past with no regret, nor future with dismay. The present slips into the past, and dreamlike melts away. The breaking of tomorrow's dawn begins anew today. The past and future ever meet in the eternal now, to make each day a thing complete shall be a new year vow. So I bring you a story. bring you a story of a creature, an expert of gathering up the past and the future. What do you think the creature is? Do I have some guesses? What do you think it is? Oh. Can Dad say it a little louder so I can hear what it was? Oh, the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. That's a fabulous creature gathering up the past and the future. Well, let's find out what this creature is. So I first heard this story from Joy Berry, and here it is for you now with a little help from Dan Matz and you all. When a caterpillar starts life, it's in a little egg on a leaf. It hatches out and it starts eating, and it eats, and it eats, and it grows, and soon it is a big caterpillar. And now when we grow bigger, do we get too big for our skin? Nah. We grow right along with us. But not for a caterpillar. Soon it is too big for its skin, and it wriggles right out of the old one that it got too tight for. A caterpillar molts. It eats, it grows, and it releases. It splits its outer skin right down the back, and it doesn't even hurt when it crawls out, dressed in a new skin that fits much better each time. And finally, the caterpillar attaches itself to a stick or a twig and hangs upside down. And it gets ready to shed its skin one more time, and this time, the skin underneath looks a little different. This is the chrysalis. And it's when the caterpillar was wearing underneath all those skins it grew out of. At first, it is soft, like that caterpillar was. But as the caterpillar hangs in the chrysalis, it begins to change. And we call that a pupa. The chrysalis gets harder and harder to protect that pupa while it changes one final time. And it's then that everything goes dark. There is so much amazing and miraculous stuff happening in that dark there, inside a hard little chrysalis. But you would never know it from the outside. The caterpillar is changing into a completely different kind of creature. That kind of change is called a metamorphosis, or a transformation. And you see, when the baby caterpillar egg was laid on a leaf by its mother, it already carried with it, in every cell of its body, the DNA, the story, the blueprint, the recipe for two different kinds of bodies. Most of its life it spends as a caterpillar, but during metamorphosis, it has to change, and it starts using that special code. Inside every chrysalis, a caterpillar's whole body is turning to a kind of goo and breaking down everything about it that was once a caterpillar. Something called imaginal cells are changing into body parts the caterpillar never had and never needed before. What kind of body parts is that chrysalis forming? I see some wings, and some other parts too. Can you imagine hanging upside down by a thread inside a tiny chrysalis, unable to move, feeling your entire body go still and then break down and change into something completely different? A caterpillar doesn't know it is changing into a butterfly, doesn't know it's growing wings, doesn't know it will fly or have beautiful, colorful patterns. If it knows anything at all, it is just that it is time to let go. It is time to release. Sometimes people talk about change and they say that it is very hard to trust and just let change happen. Sometimes people say let go and let God. That's if they believe that God is in charge of and everything is going to be okay if we will just stop worrying so much. If caterpillars, though, talked to each other about their change, they might say instead, let go and let goo. Because that's what is happening. The whole caterpillar body turns to mush and then puts itself back together again, builds a brand new body out of that goo. Every caterpillar, if it's lucky, grows up and transforms into a butterfly. And we usually focus on the butterfly that emerges, right? But the real magic is in the goo. And it's the hardest part. In times of change, it's like we are in a puddle of goo. We don't know where the story is going to take us. May we find the ability to believe that something is changing us or the world. May we have the hope and the trust and the faith to release. May we remember that somehow there is an amazing plan that lets a worm grow wings. So anything can happen when we're willing to let go and let go.
It is part of our collective spiritual practice as a community to enter into a prayerful, meditative time each week. We call this time joys and sorrows. We share what is painful in our lives and what is going well. You are invited to take a few minutes to reflect on what has been painful this week and what has been worthy of celebration. Those who are online may share the joys and sorrows in the chat box, and those here in the sanctuary and are invited to come forward and place stones in our common bowl in silence for your joys and sorrows. Let us sing now together Spirit of Life, first in Spanish, then in English.
So
joys and all our sorrows. Let us be with one another now in the spirit of prayer and reflection. Beloved Spirit of life, gracious source of all love, we come together this morning grateful for this time out of time, which we have set apart so that we might become more fully present to our own selves, to each other, to our communities, to that which we may call holy. May our joys be celebrated together, our wounds be healed together, our hearts be opened together. Humans being human, we search for chances to start over. What better time to begin again than the start of yet another circle around the sun? It is a new day, a new year. It is really an arbitrary arrangement of time, but it is still a chance to engage anew with our dreams and our ideals. How shall we use this great cosmic do-over? What shall we commit ourselves to? Should we focus on community, on the common threads that bind our lives together? Should we perhaps seek out new threads to weave into the tapestry, creating for ourselves a stronger fabric? Or shall we turn our eyes towards justice and peace, finally building a world made fair with all its people one? Or are all these things connected? Perhaps it is enough in this moment to stop and remind ourselves why we need this place, this time, this circle of care and concern. Perhaps it is enough in this moment to stop and remind ourselves why the wider world needs this place and the people who inhabit it. Perhaps it is enough in this moment to remember that if we are worthy of our place here, then all are worthy, and that some are just waiting for us to invite them in. Whatever our focus is in this new year, may we approach it with commitment, forgive ourselves when we stumble, and celebrate those things large and small which give our lives meaning and lead us into deeper awareness of our limitless connections. All this we pray in the names of those known and unknown, present and absent, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind. Amen. Happy New Year. Or New Year, depending. I don't want to impose a feeling about it on you right now. Quick poll this morning. Who here has already broken their New Year's resolutions? Couple of hands. Okay, well, there's still time. They say the average amount of time it takes for everybody to break their New Year's resolutions is about 3 weeks. So before January is out, you will all have broken them, or most of you. It's, like I mentioned in the prayer, an arbitrary arrangement of time this new year, this January 1st, this start of another circle around the sun. And humans being human, we're constantly looking for opportunities for self-improvement, to do something better, to try to be best at something. And so we pick this time of year to try to make those changes in ourselves. We make resolutions. I'm going to start going to the gym more. That's like the most popular resolution there is. I was talking with one of my gym-going friends. I am not one of those people. One of my gym-going friends complaining about how many people had started their resolutions early this year and were taking up too much space on the machines when they were trying to do their after-work workout, but feeling good knowing they wouldn't be there in about 6 weeks. So why do we give these up so easily? Why do we break our resolutions within this 3-week time span, 3-month time span, however short a span it is, to give up on the promises that we're making to ourselves? And I think the answer is because the promises we're making, the resolutions we make, are too big. They're too big to take on in one fell swoop. Even I resolve to go to the gym is a huge thing if it's not something you're used to doing every day or on a regular basis. It's a huge habit change. And studies have shown that we do much better when we try to change our habits in little micro habit steps. Instead of saying, I'm going to go run a mile every morning, start with, I'm going to put my running shoes next to the bed so I remember they're there. It's funny, but it's serious. You just one step at a time, one little increment at a time. Might be easier to keep then. I've never been very good at resolutions myself, and knowing what I know now about the statistics for people breaking their resolutions, back in my younger and more cynical days, around 2021, 2022, I thought it would be fun to make what I called anti-resolutions instead. Resolutions that were habits I wanted to break. Like I resolved to drink Coca-Cola until my teeth rot out of my mouth. That would be a resolution, an anti-resolution to make. I resolved to hate myself and everything I do. We really want to break that resolution. And yet, like I said, it's somewhat cynical and it's still insufficient for the kind of change that maybe we're looking for in ourselves. And in the last several years especially, I've found at the turn of the year that my question for myself has become less and less, how do I want to be my best? And instead, who do I need to be to face the challenges of the coming year? Who do I need to be to face the challenges? We've already had a lot of prognoses and predictions about what 2025 will hold in store for us this year. More division, more outrage, more danger, especially to our friends and neighbors in marginalized communities, more hopelessness. We've already kicked off this new year with at least one episode of massive violence in this country. New Orleans holds a bit of a special place in my heart, so that was particularly awful to wake up to this week. It looks more and more like maybe what we're going to be seeing, at least reflected in our media, is the worst that human beings have to offer. The worst that people can be. So who do I need to be to face the challenges of the year to come? What's needed when the worst of humanity arises and is more and more of the better angels of our nature? What's needed is more loving, double down on that unconditional, unshakable love that we talk about. And yet we can't do it in one giant step. So with all the authority over the universe that I can muster, I declare 2025 to be the year of bringing forth our better selves. Not our best selves. Best is a long-term project, and a year really isn't all that much time in the grand scheme of things. And honestly, sometimes superlatives can be a trap. Because if we don't meet them, we get discouraged so easily. So instead, this is the year of bringing forth our better selves, acknowledging that we are always a work in progress, that we are always an eternal student, that we are always learning about who we are in relationship to the world and all that is. After all, we know what our shared values are. We have a pretty good idea of what the world we want to build based on those values might look like. If we're lucky, we figured out who we ultimately want to be in that picture, what role we want to play, know we can play in that. That person already exists inside each of us. The only thing that stops us from bringing forth that better self most of the time is the obstacles we throw up in our own way. More often than not, we just need to get out of our own way. What is it that holds us back from bringing forth that better self? So many roadblocks that we indulge in. Maybe it's our pride. Maybe we think we already love enough. Or more likely, we're scared to admit the moments when we fail in that love. And we're worried perhaps that someone will see right through us. Maybe it's a sense of selfishness. We look at that love as a limited resource, not the boundless value that we hold it to be. Often it is our sense of busyness, not business, busyness. This drive to do and to do and to do and produce so that we don't have time to think or to feel or reflect on things around us, to reflect on what we can and cannot do. Or maybe it's just fear. Fear that our love will be rejected or not reciprocated in some way. Or fear of the change that will come when we get out of our own way, fear of letting go and letting go. Because it's a messy process. Coming out of our chrysalis, emerging as our better self, and our better self, and our better self is gooey, messy work. So I can understand how we might be a little reticent to engage in it. But if this is to be the year of bringing forth our better selves, those are the things we're going to need to let go of. So maybe at the start of a new year, it's not resolutions that are needed. At least not at first. Resolutions feel to me lately like a step further on down the road. We've got to take care of some other business first. We're going to need some resolve in our lives to meet the challenges ahead in the year. But first, before resolution, maybe we need to let go of some things. Before the resolution, there needs to come a release of all that is us getting in our own ways, be it the pride, be it the fear, whatever it is. So my question this morning is, what do you need to release before that better person emerges? So we have a little ritual to do this morning. I love a ritual at a time like this because it gives some tangibility to an abstract concept. You were handed, as you came in this morning, hopefully you all have a piece of paper. This is special magic dissolving paper. It dissolves eventually in water. The new year calls us forward, filled with mystery. As we turn toward that new year, we take a final glimpse of the past year and reckon with all that it held for us. Take your piece of paper now. If you need one, let me know. Take your piece of paper and reflect on the year behind you. Consider what you might leave behind today, what you might release, casting it into the water so that it changes form and disappears. And as it disappears, as I've learned over the years, it gets a little messy with the debris and turns into something of a goo. We didn't plan it that way when we picked the story, but we're going to get a visual representation of that as well. What parts of our lives, what things, ideas, people, way of living have become obstacles to our becoming the people we want to be, the people we need to be to face the challenges of the coming year? What is holding us back? What's getting in the way of us living as fully as we would like to? What would you like to let fade away? What will you release? Write a word or two on the paper. Nobody will see it except you and the water and the universe. Take your time. We'll have some music. Come up and drop it in our cylinder when you are ready. If the past year held joy and growth for you, may that sweetness continue to bless you. If the past year held pain and bitterness, may you be relieved of those burdens and renewed for the journey ahead. Let us look to the new with hope, with curiosity about its many unknowns, and with faith in our strength to navigate it all with grace. Amen.
Something, another way can be to shake it out. Can we do that together? Yeah, maybe we do it with both hands. Maybe we do it with our feet. You guys sitting in the pews have a leg up on me. Sometimes we do it with some sound. And I want to invite you guys, some of you, into maybe grabbing some sound shakers for this next one. They're up front here if you want to grab a shaker and join me in this shaking. Maybe it's in our whole body that we shake. And some of us are going to do some sonic shaking. Okay, shake with me, Lottie. Fantastic. So we're going to keep this going. And maybe you want to shake on the pews if you don't want to grab an actual shaker. Just tap lightly, maybe. That makes a really wonderful shaky sound. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Can you join me in that? Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. 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 Be open for something wonderful. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Aye, 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 aye. Aye, 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 aye. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Aye, 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 shake as loud as you can. 3, 2, 1, stop. Thank you, friends. Put your shakers back.
As a community of faith, we share what we can with one another. We offer ourselves to the ministries of this church by giving to and receiving from one another. One of those gifts is our financial resources. Your generosity makes it possible for us to live out our principles in our church and beyond our doors, keeping hope and courage and forgiveness and compassion alive. You may make a contribution online through the Giving app or here in the sanctuary through the baskets as they pass you by this morning. The offering will now be accepted. May what you give bring you joy and into deeper relationship with this community. freely have we given, gratefully have we received. May these gifts become our hands working on our behalf in the wider community. Important announcements and upcoming events can be found on the back page of your order of service this morning. You can learn more about what's going on at the church on our website or through our Facebook page, or if you sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Univoice, by email. Just a couple of things we want to highlight coming up in the next week or two. First up, next Sunday, our religious education program will sponsor a pancake breakfast before the service, starting at 9:30. Who doesn't want pancakes before church? Please come and join us for that. After the service next week, it's a big Sunday next week. There's a lot going on. After the service, we will have a game day. We're inviting you to bring games you love to play. We will start playing around noon, bring some snacks to share. We'll keep playing till around 5 o'clock or so, or until we just get tired of playing games together. And then finally, we've given you a couple of save the date warnings, and that date is coming up faster and faster. The first weekend of February will be our version of the UUA's Climate Revival Weekend. We will have a day dedicated to education on climate change and actions you can take on Saturday morning into the afternoon. And then on Sunday, we'll have a special service, including videos from special guests around our movement on the climate revival. So join us for that as well. We will have more information about specific times that starts very soon.
And now, let us ring out the old and ring in the new one more time with our closing hymn. And before we get singing, if it's available to you, place your hands over top of your lungs. Your lungs actually start all the way up here, but it can be wherever those nice, lovely lungs hang out. And let's take a collective breath in and out. Ring out wild bells and let it die. Ring out the false, ring in the true. Ring in redress to humankind. Ring in the common love of good. This is number 58, Ring Out Wild Bells. Please rise in body, rise in spirit, and open your hymnals and hearts to the words of Alfred Lloyd Tennyson and the music of Percy Carter Buck. Ring out wild bells to the wild, wild sky, the flying cloud, the frosty light. The year is dying and the
friends, may life bless us and keep us. May the light of life shine upon us and out from within us, and be gracious to us and bring us peace. For this is the day. This is the one wild and precious life we have been given. So let us all find a way to rejoice and be glad in it. Go in peace. And welcome now to coffee hour. Please join us in the Gerber room. Those of you online will get into a breakout room to have some conversation there.